believe that you're a cheater, and I believe that you
needs these guys. Jake needs Tyson and needs all these other people, because that you know, everybody's going to tune in to hope that Mike Tyson knocks him out.
Right.
They're not tuning in because they think Jake Paul's a great fighter and they want to see him.
Dana White destroys Mike Tyson vs. Jake Paul one day before the fight, because why not? Our UFC boss has no filter and zero chills, especially when it comes to this dumpster fire of a matchup.
Tyson's 58 years old. You know what I mean? Jake fought a guy who was his age and who was also considered a boxer, and he lost. So if you can keep fighting fucking 50-something-year-olds
you don't think Tyson has a chance?
and making a living at it, I think that Mike Tyson has a puncher's chance against anybody.
Tyson, who hasn't stepped into the ring in nearly 2 decades, is against Jake Paul, who learned how to box by watching YouTube videos. Yeah, that's the recipe for a legitimate fight, right? Honestly, this is less of a fight and more of a social media disaster wrapped in gloves. So let's dive into Dana's latest rant about this whole circus just 24 hours before it all kicks off.
I believe that he was making the money he says he's making. Showtime Boxing wouldn't have gone out of business, and Showtime would have made sure they kept paying him.
Right.
But he's doing it. You know, what do I think of the Mike Tyson fight?
Yes.
Right in the middle of this whole Tyson versus Paul drama, we've got the 3 characters who've turned the hype into something so much bigger. Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, and Dana White. What was supposed to be a routine weigh-in turned into an absolute circus, and not just because of the 2 fighters. The unfiltered commentary and opinions make the fight a larger-than-life spectacle.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it all kicked off on the November 14th, 2024, at the Toyota Music Factory in Texas. And what we got wasn't just a weigh-in, it was a viral moment. Tyson and Paul are locked in this face-to-face stare-down, and then bam. Tyson, without warning, slaps Jake Paul across the face. This wasn't just a casual, get-out-of-my-space slap. It was full force. People in the crowd were stunned, and I'm sure Jake Paul felt that one on his social media feeds.
Can you just tell us the emotions, the thoughts that are going through your mind right now?
talking's over.
Why did you push him there?
Tyson, being Tyson, didn't even flinch. As he walked off stage, he dropped the bomb, talking is over. And just like that, the moment was cemented in history. The internet went wild about the slap. Everyone's dissecting it. Was it real anger? Was it part of the hype? People were all over Tyson's face trying to find some telltale sign that he was actually pissed, or if this was just another layer to the ongoing saga. Was he trying to prove something, or was it all for show? Whatever it was, that slap got people talking.
You just felt his power. What did that feel like, and why did he do that to you?
I didn't even feel it. He's angry. He's an angry little elf. Mike Tyson, I thought that was a cute slap, buddy, but tomorrow you're getting knocked the out.
And Jake? Well, Jake wasn't just going to let this slide. He stepped right into the role of the cheeky instigator, mocking Tyson's outburst by calling him an angry little elf. Seriously, who even goes there with an elf insult? It's like he's daring Tyson to lose his cool again. Jake, as always, turns it into a personal vendetta.
Tomorrow you're getting knocked the out. I'm him up, Ariel. I'm him up. He hits like a It's personal now. It's personal now. He must die.
He's not just in it for the fight. He wants to make sure everyone knows that this is personal. And of course, social media exploded. Memes were flying, comments were pouring in, and fans were either all in, buying into the drama, or calling it out as just another publicity stunt. But here's where it gets real spicy. Dana White had to weigh in. Of course, he did. Dana doesn't watch from the sidelines. He doesn't do the passive-aggressive thing. When he's got something to say, he says it loud. And he's not having it with Jake Paul. Dana doesn't think Paul's some underdog trying to make his mark in the boxing world.
And that thing that you came out with today, nobody on earth thinks that you really wrote that. You're too stupid. And for those of you that don't know, if you've ever watched one of his fights and you see when they do the stare down.
To Dana, Paul's just another YouTuber playing at being a boxer. Dana's got this no-nonsense approach to combat sports, and he's not buying into the idea that Jake's anything but a fame-chasing machine. He calls him out as a YouTuber trying to play boxer, dragging his content creator baggage into the ring. He's straight up telling everyone that Jake's more interested in headlines than in actually earning respect in the sport.
The guy that's standing in the middle with the warlock nose and the big warlock wart on his face, apparently that's his manager. And that guy used to be an accountant for me. And let's just say this, he no longer works for me. and I think he's a scumbag.
Dana's beef goes deeper as he's not just throwing shade at Jake Paul, but at Paul's manager, T. Warlock. This guy used to work for Dana as an accountant, but apparently he didn't make the cut. So now he's back managing Jake's career. Dana's having none of it.
Go start your own business. It's easy to do. Get the Warlock on it. The Warlock can get it started for you. What you and the Warlock should be focused on is your business.
He sees this guy as a failure who's come crawling back into the business, now trying to ride Jake's coattails. Dana's got zero respect for the Warlock, calling him out as a backstabber who doesn't know what he's doing. Dana can't help but throw a sarcastic jab, challenging these guys to start their own MMA promotion if they think they know better. Dana isn't just calling out Jake and his team, he's daring them to take on the fight world and see how long they will last. It's like a challenge wrapped in an insult, and Dana loves every minute. So now we've got the two biggest voices in the fight world, Dana White and Jake Paul, taking shots at each other, but it's not just personal hate, it's a complete clash of principles.
You can do it better than we do. We're doing this whole thing wrong. You can treat the fighters better than we do. Knock yourself out. Go start your own business. It's easy to do. Get the Warlock on it. The Warlock can get it started for you.
Dana's all about respecting the fight game, about building something real, and he's not having it with the celebrity-driven circus that Jake Paul represents. To Dana, this whole thing is about turning boxing into a money grab. Jake's not in it for the sport, he's in it for the fame and quick payday. And for Dana, that's blasphemy.
I'm ready to roll, buddy. I don't use cocaine. Do you use steroids? Let's do this, Jake.
And then there's Dana's latest spicy challenge, one that's not about punches or submissions, but about substances. It's about testing, specifically Dana offering to get tested for cocaine if Jake agrees to test for steroids. Dana's throwing down the gauntlet, calling Jake's muscle mass into question in the most public way possible. For Dana, this isn't just about drug testing. It's a direct shot at Jake's whole shortcut to success. Dana's trying to paint Jake as someone who's relying on more than just hard work to build his body, while at the same time, Dana's using this challenge to call attention to Jake's rise in the fight world, which Dana doesn't think is real or earned.
So I told you could randomly cocaine test me for the next 10 years. I believe that you're a cheater, and I believe that you use steroids. So I want to randomly steroid test.
You know the media love this one. Every sports talk show, every podcast with a mic jumped on this cocaine versus steroids. Dana White versus Jake Paul. The idea of a public drug test showdown? That's headline gold. Dana's playing the media like a fiddle here, using the buzz to undermine Jake's rise in the sport. To Dana, this challenge does two things. First, it highlights Jake's physique and the possible shortcuts he might have taken to get there. Second, it feeds into Dana's narrative that Jake isn't legit, that he's just a flash in the pan with no true grit in the ring.
I did, at the thought. I don't know if it's because of the age difference or what, but why specifically do you think that this fight is so polarizing for people?
First thing is, you don't know the outcome. Too many fights, and this is one of the reasons for boxing's decline. You have the A side, you have the B side. You already know where it's going to go. Whether it's real or not, you have a pretty good sense of the outcome.
And Jake, he's fully aware of the risks here. If the steroid label sticks, his whole credibility takes a massive hit. That's not something you shake off easily in sports. It's a high-stakes game of reputation warfare, with each gambling their own image to win this public brawl. It's not just about the fight, it's about who has the power to control the narrative. And of course, let's not forget the cash grab. The fight is projected to bring in a whopping $60 million. No matter the outcome, Jake's pocketing $40 million, while Tyson is taking home a cool $20 million. The sheer amount of money on the table here is insane, especially when Netflix is backing it. They're bringing in millions of viewers who wouldn't normally tune into a traditional boxing match but are absolutely here for this drama. This fight is less about the sport and more about turning it into a spectacle, something that Dana White hates, but that's working like gangbusters for the paychecks.
How would you describe the arc of his persona?
It's the greatest comeback I've ever seen in any area, certainly of American life, that I can recall. He shouldn't be alive, and that's not me talking. He said that many, many, many times. The idea that he's here.
Tyson, though, is a different story. It's clear he's not in this for the money. At 58 years old, Tyson isn't chasing a payday, he's chasing something else. Some say it's about proving to himself he still has it, that he can still be a force in the ring after nearly 2 decades. But Tyson's motivations aren't just about money, it's personal. He's back in the ring for something bigger, and he knows the stakes are high.
There's a ton of buzz leading up to this fight, so let's start with a reasonable question. Is this fight real?
It's as real as all the money that's being bet. Yes, that's a qualified yes. There are certain differences from conventional fights or conventional male fights. There are 2-minute rounds. There are 14-ounce gloves as opposed to 10-ounce gloves in the usual heavyweight contest.
And what about the fight itself? Is it the fight of the century or just another cash grab? The opinions are all over the place. Some are excited about the idea of 2 generations clashing in the ring. Others think it's a mismatch that's more about media hype than actual skill. Critics like Bernard Hopkins are calling it what it is, a circus act.
Tyson's last competitive fight was in 2005. He's 58 here, Mark. Is there a reason outside of the payday that Tyson takes this fight?
Oh yeah, I think it's ego, and I say that as a full compliment. You can't be a fighter.
How can you put a 58-year-old Tyson against 27-year-old Jake Paul, who's still wet behind the ears in boxing? Critics say this fight is nothing more than a payday disguised as a big event. But even if it's a mismatch, both fighters still have real stakes here. If Jake Paul wins, he'll be accused of picking on an older, out-of-shape legend instead of fighting real contenders. If Tyson wins, Jake's credibility is shot. Either way, there's a lot on the line, and it's not just about the win or loss. It's about how each fighter's legacy will be shaped.
I don't know if it's because of the age difference or what, but why specifically do you think that this fight is so polarizing for people?
First thing is, you don't know the outcome. Too many fights, and this is one of the reasons for boxing's decline. You have the A side, you have the B side. You already know where it's going to go. Whether it's real or not, you have a pretty good sense of the outcome.
So here's the real question. Is this fight truly about the sport, or is it just another spectacle? Is Tyson coming back for the legacy, or is it all about closure? Does anyone really believe this is a legitimate contest, or are we just feeding into a media circus? Is Dana right to call out these fights as nothing more than gimmicks, or is he just bitter that the game is changing in ways he doesn't like? Whatever happens, this clash is bigger than just the fighters. It's about what we as fans value in combat sports.